So discussing passing the close guard, right? We have two big strategies on how we can pass the close guard. First one that I like to convey to everybody and have everyone understand is passing or opening the close guard on your knees first, because we've talked about that keeps your center of gravity of low. The risk of off balancing is low as well. But we find that as we are encountering higher level guard players, we need to be able to create more space to allow us to open that guard, and from that space be able to move a little bit more dynamically. So we're going to talk about standing up properly in the closed guard today, right? From there, once that guard is open, how we can use our legs like springs and our hips to pass dynamically to help us make sure that once we've created and opened that space up, our guard player does not have the chance to reclose that guard or put any frames in between me and them. So in this closed guard position, we have gone through some of our first kind of passing, whether we're having trouble maintaining our posture because our opponent is very adamant about breaking it, or I've gone for this and I have not had any success in opening the guard. We can then think about taking this secondary approach, which is going to be to stand up in the closed guard. So one of the first things I want to do is drop my chest down to that belt line, right, to make sure I control the hips. So my chest goes down. That is stopping any sort of up and down of Ian's hips, right? It's hard for me to get any sort of triangles. And then my elbows are pinched, keeping my elbows and knees connected to help shut down any lateral movement, any of his hips moving left and right. If I start to feel like my elbow is starting to get far from my body, see how Ian is shrimping out a little bit? He's starting to create that angle. I need to be tracking that. And as a guard passer, I always need to be focusing on squaring back up with him, not allowing him to get that hip out, because as you see he gets that hip out, if he gets to his side, right now as he shrimps, he's really starting to separate and move that elbow from my body. So I need to be making sure that I stop that from happening. Chest down, elbows tight, and my elbows are connected to my knees for that tension. Okay? As I'm doing this now, what I want to be working for is there is a nice good seam right here in the armpit. So I want to be looking for that seam, and I'm going to be grabbing 4 fingers. So you can see this armpit seam right here. I'm going to grab 4 fingers in that. I'm going to lock that grip in there nice and tight. Right, doing that on both sides. What that allows me to do is I have good control of the gi, right? And if Ian tries to establish any sort of cross lapel grips, right, it's very difficult because I'm framing that space away. Now, with that frames, I'm going to be driving my knuckles to the mat. So what's going to happen, right, keeping my chest close to the hips, is I'm going to come up to my toes. I'm going to drive them back. That guard player, right, you see how as I walk back, that's putting tension on his guard. If he does not address that tension, as I raise my hips, you can see how the guard sometimes will pop open. So they're going to address that tension by climbing it up, right? Which now actually helps me a little bit. Because now as I drive my knees back, I'm interested in getting a knee in between me and Ian. So I need a knee in between my chest and his hips. So as I slowly walk my legs up, you should see how I've gotten into this like inverted V position. I've folded myself in half. What my goal is to work a knee in between me and Ian. Once I have that knee, right, I'm using my free leg here to sit back, right? So as I sit back, my hands are working to the hips, and I'm working myself back and my chest up to this position right here to make sure that I open that guard up. You see how I can drop to one knee, or I can make sure I stand all the way up. So chest is heavy, grabbing the armpits, walking them all the way out, right? Once I feel that guard adjust, popping up to the toes, walking back, knee in the center. Now as I do this, I can go to my knee, or I can push back and stay on my feet. Notice how as I push back, my hands come with me with that goal of getting to this head quarter pass position, right? I'm in that squat. I have the wishbone of the legs, very similar to our knee cut from earlier on the ground. Just now I'm on my feet, so I can move a lot faster. I can shuffle either side, right? I step over, I can send my knee through, punching the underhook, turning the hips really dynamically, and walking back, so that way we can increase our tempo, right? And the likelihood of finishing our pass jumps up. When we talk about tempo, that's because this is going to be slow working from here. I have to be methodical, making sure he's not grabbing my lapels, right? closing off all the options for his hips. I'm taking my time, I'm building my position. I'm looking at increasing that space, walking forward. Once I get to a position where this guard is open and I'm set, this is a green light from here. I gotta be ready to go. Okay, I gotta pass dynamically because here I'm putting a pretty good threat on Ian's guard. He's gonna be interested in replacing his guard. So while we're working, stepping over, send that pass. Yeah, help. Don't hang out there too long. So one more time. Let's turn this way. So notice how when I drop that chest, right, I'm nice and low, getting my grips, walking it back. When I pop up, you can see this space between my chest and my partner's hips. So as I walk, all right, don't take big steps. You're not gonna be able to get your knee in there. It's little tiny steps until I can get that knee in there as a wedge. Hands to the hips, pushing back. Pin, you can step over, send that knee cut, and finish our pass.